Hey guys, this week I want to ask you guys about boundaries and setting boundaries with your clients, and then just work in general, between your work life and your home life. So I guess it can kind of be broken up into parts. I'm not sure. The first, we'll start off with, separating yourself from work when you go home. I know it's easy as social workers, as in so many other jobs, to just throw yourself into it full force and just keep working until you get it done. And this is something my supervisor and I have talked about a couple of times because it's a really busy time right now for everyone who works in our agency, but especially for the social worker because there's just a lot on her plate right now. And she has been stressing the importance of having boundaries in your life and in your work life as well. She said, it's so easy. She could easily stay till 7, 8 o'clock at night and still not be done with her work, but that's not always doable or realistic. And she's an example from her personal experience of being an intensive in-home social worker. She said she didn't have a work cell phone, it was just a personal cell phone, and she had to give that number out to clients and so they could contact her, reach her anytime, the day, of the night, the weekend. And that got to be a lot because they weren't always supposed to call her during those times, but they did. And so it's kind of like, always being in work mode and not being able to relax or leave work. You were always there, always at work. Sorry. So that's something that I've just been thinking about. It's not something that I've had an issue with yet. But I know it's something that could come up in my future practice or even in my placement, because there's only so much you can get done in a day, and so you feel like you need to keep going, but also know you need to make that cut to avoid burnout. So I guess the main part of the question is, has anyone found successful strategies or ways to make that cut, to have a boundary between work and your life, because that's always important. Whether it's time management strategy or what it is, it's just mainly an issue of becoming burned out, and none of us want that, but it could so easily happen. And then the other part of my question, I guess, is, I'll give you the example first. We had a patient last week. He was just in for respite care, so he was only there for a few days and then was going back home. And he's been there several times before. And the social worker, my supervisor, said that every time he's there, always asks her about politics, and that's one of the things we can't talk to them or talk with them about is our own personal political views. And she said every time he's there, he brings that up. He wants to know who she voted for and all of that kind of stuff. And so he was asking me as well, and I explained to him, I can't talk to you about that. I'm sorry, but just I can't discuss that. And he had already asked her several times, and then that's when he turned it on me and started asking me. And he said, well, whenever if you come in here by yourself, I'll ask you. We were just scared to talk about it in front of her, kind of pitting us against each other. But so in that sense, that's a different kind of boundary than the one I mentioned earlier. But I guess the question there would be, how do you tell your client, here's this boundary, this is something that we can't discuss, or something that because of the policies in the agency that I can't discuss with you, so that they understand, because he was very adamant, and he was beginning to get angry that we wouldn't really talk to him about this, and he didn't understand why we couldn't, and so we kind of wrapped the visit up and left, and went to go document. But I guess that part of the question is, how do you set that boundary with your client so that and they know what you were there to discuss and what you may not are able to bring up. Maybe this isn't something that is prevalent in other agencies. I'm not sure. I've only done hospice internships, so I don't really know how it works in other places. If it's you can talk about anything. But so yeah, that's my question: how to set a boundary between work and personal life, so to avoid burnout, and then how to set those boundaries with clients, so that in a respectful way, so that they know what you can and cannot talk with them about. Thank you, and I hope everybody has a good rest of the week in their placements.